Ba-bum, ba-bum, ba-bum. These are my vocal warm-ups because I have not talked today. Now I have. Hi everyone, welcome on back to the channel. We're going to be going over the new weapon for the Elementalist, the pistol, which was revealed to us in the blog post. Pistols grant Elementalists the choice between greater damage and defense. I say gator, I meant greater. Anyways, let's continue on to the blog post. This one has a very interesting mechanic as well. Once again, all these weapons got a gimmick. Gotta have a gimmick, gotta have a gimmick. Much like all the other weapons and elite specializations for Elementalist, they're getting NASA level intellectual mechanics that you might have to deal with, especially if you're on Weaver. Let's talk about what they have to share with us in the blog post, and then we'll get into the trailer. So, let's start with the function and the mechanic around the pistol. We have elemental ammunition. The pistol is a condition-focused weapon that brings some mobility, crowd control, and a large amount of damage. The pistol will also provide some interesting gameplay decisions with its elemental bullet mechanic that grants players a selection of bonus effects. Every time you use a pistol skill, except for auto attacks, one of two things will happen. If no bullet of this same element exists, the skill will perform its base behavior and create a bullet of its element. A bullet will then hover near the player character to signify it has been created. However, if the elemental bullet already exists, the skill will consume that bullet to gain a bonus effect. For example, let's check out two skills from the Earth attunement: Shattering Stone, your second ability, and Boulder Blast, your third ability. Shattering Stone fires a shot that inflicts bleeding and cripple, shattering into multiple fragments that also strikes nearby enemies. If an earth bullet is available, it will be consumed to grant the user an enhancement that makes their next few attacks also inflict bleeding. Boulder Blast, your third skill, shoots a large projectile that strikes a single enemy, immobilizing them and inflicting a large amount of bleeding. If an earth bullet is available, it's consumed to grant the user barrier if the projectile successfully strikes an enemy. In this case, depending on the sequencing of skills, players can opt for either more damage or more defense, depending on the situation at hand. Now, this also continues on to Weavers, which I'll just touch on very briefly. So with Weavers, dual attacks can consume bullets of both elements, granting a unique bonus for each bullet. If any matching bullet is available when using a dual attack, all matching bullets will be consumed to grant their bonuses. Now, this is an interesting weapon, and I'm going to start with a brief notion that this is a little reminiscent of the Catalyst Hammer Orbs, or just at this point, Hammer Orbs, in terms of granting a unique effect. Now, it's not exactly the same. This one I think is a lot more intricate and is more bespoke in terms of giving the player agency on whether they want more damage or more defense. However, it's just kind of like, oh, another unique weapon mechanic for Elementalist. And I think that they are going heavy in this direction because we're not getting any elite specialization or utility skills. But then I also wonder, is it purely for a gimmick? Was the gimmick in the minigame gonna match up with the fun and the usability of these weapons? We'll have to see come the beta. But this one in particular, having that choice of giving you more damage or more defense depending on the ability is cool. But also, I gotta admit, Guild Wars 2 is a very fast-paced game. This might force players to slow down just a little bit in order to understand what ability they're going to use if they want to get that offense or get that defense. And it's going to be a learning curve until players get much more comfortable with it to where it becomes kind of second nature. It's a cool idea. But I do have some questions about this mechanic in regards to what is shown in the trailer, which we'll get to in just a moment. But from the blog post, I like Shattering Stone and I like Boulder Blast. The pistol seems to be a much more damage-oriented weapon with condition damage, which is kind of shared with Scepter. So, I'm wondering, how are we feeling about the comparison between Scepter and Pistol? I think this one will still feel much more different because of its unique mechanic, but where does that leave Scepter? Does it need another overhaul? Does it need some tuning? Should it just be power-focused? We'll have to see. But let's talk a little bit about the trailer from what is shown. This trailer is okay. I think this one was better than the Mesmer one, at least in showing abilities and not cutting abilities off halfway through. But once again, it's a little stagnant. You know, you get like 5-10 seconds of the just like panning around a character when it's like, show us the abilities. Take a little bit longer maybe. But it starts out with them just cycling through each of the attunements using probably their second ability to generate those orbs, second or third, and it has all 4 attunements, and then the Elementalists uses an ability which sends all of the orbs, all of the bullets, I call them orbs because catalyst, but bullets, all the bullets, and from the way it was described, it makes it sound like it'll just consume that appropriate attunement, but in the video it sends all of them. So there might need to be a little bit of clarification on that part, because I like the idea that it only sends the appropriate attunement so you can store them up. But then we also have, at the very end, an ability where it shoots a larger fireball, and then that fireball explodes and also creates 4 separate fireballs that arc outward. I don't have a fire bullet around them, so that might just be the base ability, but I really enjoy that ability. I like the singular attack in an area, and then it will arc out, striking any nearby enemies if they're in the area. I think oftentimes the OS2 just relies on things just being in a large circle, and there's not a lot of dynamicness to those circles or those AoE attacks, so this will be a little bit more interesting, I think. Now, I would have liked to have seen more from the water attunement and air attunement, just because it is a main hand weapon, but we have 12 skills, yeah. But without this being a bit more condition focused, is water going to be applying more bleeding? Is it going to apply slow, confusion, chill? Chill, I think, is a very appropriate condition and makes a lot of sense for this. But I like the trailer. I just kind of wish there was more movement to it. But I like that we're actually seeing the abilities this time around. At least a little bit better. And that, everyone, is the Elementalist Pistol. I think it looks promising. I'm interested to see how it's going to play and how the flow of its combat is going to feel, especially in prolonged fights where you can maybe start to set things up a little bit better, and or maybe fights will be too chaotic and you're gonna be like, do I press this one, do I have this bullet? And they are decent size, so I think you'll be able to see them appropriately. But yeah, I liked it. I enjoyed it. Comment down below how you feel about this Elementalist Pistol. How do you feel it's going to compare to Scepter? What offhand are you going to take with this? I think Dagger is probably really a Warhorn. Warhorn's great for every situation, honestly. And like, comment, share, all that stuff. Subscribe, and I'll catch you all in the next video. What's the next profession going to be? Who knows? Kind of like to see Necro. But we also haven't had a medium armor in some time. Maybe NG. But yeah, I'll see you all in the next one. Bye, everyone.